Meow.
Wow.
Meow.
Oh god.
Hello, and welcome to episode 135 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I'm your host, Mike Salbato, and I'm going to try avoiding too many Mario puns today, but no promises.
They're inevitable.
I think they are. So, first up on the show is Hilary, who I can see is planning a Mario pun right now.
Oh, no, you're putting me on the spot. So now I'm going to be all shy.
Okay. I see them. I'm looking at your face and I see the gears of TikTok clock going through your head right now.
I was going to call myself a shy guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
You ever see a shy guy without a mask? Because I just did a few days ago and it's weird.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, where?
In a small cutscene on like one of the more recent Mario tennis games.
Why is it showing up on Mario Tennis?
I don't know. One of the sports ones. I think it's tennis. Anyway. So after Hilary, Mario was also here with us today.
Yep, it's me.
Okay, we got that out of the way.
Yeah, we got it out of the way. Okay, yeah, I just knew I had to say that.
You had to at least once, yeah.
Contractually obligated.
Yeah. All right. And finally, Jimmy is with us today as well.
Hello.
Well, I'm excited about this one. We were talking a little bit off air about this one, and I know a lot of times we'll mention this on the show as like, oh, we've had this on our idea board for quite a while, but we've literally had this one on our idea board for over 8 years. Like at least 6 or 7 people who were originally going to be on it. Like there's people who have left the site years ago who were thinking about being on this one in 2016. So it's been a very long time in coming. I guess we were just waiting for Mario to come to join the staff. We couldn't do it without you, I think. That's really what it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Seems legit.
Yeah. So it's finally time to talk about Mario RPG music. Because as it turns out, there's a whole lot of them now. Even more than there were in 2016.
Very true.
Yeah. So, of course, it started with Super Mario RPG. And then we got a bunch of Mario and Luigi games and Paper Mario games. The Mario and Rabbids games are sort of in that vein. But, yeah, there's
SRPGs.
Yeah,
kind of.
Sort of, yeah. Whatever. They could have counted for this episode. Anyway, the point is there's a lot of music we could draw on here, and some of them even got soundtracks released, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes, that's a recurring theme.
Yes. So
guess which composer created the song? Oh, yes. Wait, you can't.
Guess which major composer did this one that never got a release? Yeah, a lot of that going on. But yeah, before we get into the music, I always like asking why people are here, so Let's start with Jimmy. Like, what drew you to this episode?
I've just always had a lot of experience with the Mario games in general. It's really like Mario Party has always been the go-to family game for us. I've kind of played. I'm sure I haven't played every Mario game, but I've probably played a really good high percentage. And the RPGs are just some of my favorites, all the way back from the original, and I really like the first 2 Paper Marios, which Thousand Year Door is getting a release on Switch coming up soon. I'm super excited about. So that's kind of why I'm here. Oh, and also I've been playing through. I just finished playing through the Mario RPG remake with my second oldest daughter, and now we're about halfway through Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, so it's all pretty relevant, and a lot of these songs are fresh for me right now. So
how fun!
Yeah, that's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, don't think that the timing of this episode is totally a coincidence. I definitely was like, once we knew about that remaster of Thousand Year Door, my plan last year was to like do it sometime, hopefully in the first half of the year. And it turns out, yes, it is coming out in the first half of the year. So it was really just the right time for this episode, finally. How about you, Mario?
Yeah, so I basically grew up on these Mario RPGs. Like, it's pretty much what introduced me to the genre, or maybe Pokemon, but the early Mario RPGs like Superstar Saga, Paper Mario 64. I did play Super Mario RPG, the remake, but I didn't play it back then. But yeah, but basically the early Mario RPGs are what I grew up on. I like grinded them for no reason, kind of grew up on them. I literally got to level 99 in some of the Mario Luigi games, even though that's like completely not necessary, like in the slightest. But yeah, these were just some of my favorite games growing up. And yeah, I knew I just had to hop onto this episode once I saw it was happening. So yeah, but very excited to talk some music that basically shaped my understanding of what video game music could be. So yeah, I'm excited.
Wow. All right, Hilary, follow that up.
I'm not sure I can.
Also, because my name's Mario. Yeah, just
well, it's also that.
Well,
none of us can touch you on that.
Now it's impossible. It was difficult before, and now it's impossible.
That's true.
Although I will say that I played the original Mario RPG when it released, so that's something.
Yeah,
you got that over me.
I don't know, love the characters, love the Mario world. Really, really do also like the music. So love to talk about how that all comes together.
Oh yeah. It was one of those things. It was just that time in gaming. You had people coming together to make things that like really has not really happened again that often. You know, between Chrono Trigger, before Square and NX were one company, you had people from each company coming together on that. You had Nintendo and Square making this one. It was really just completely unheard of. It was just such a cool thing to have happen. Like now we have how many Mario RPGs, but you know, this is really where it started, was with that one. So yeah, I was really on board with that. You know, that was back with when all of our news was from gaming magazines and stuff. So every time there was something new on Mario RPG, I was there, because I was already a fan of Mario and I was already a fan of RPGs. So it was just a really neat thing. So yeah. All right. Well, we have 4 blocks today. I, at the moment, have some cute names in our notes. I don't know if they're going to follow through to the end, but we'll see what happens. Either way, we are starting today with you, Hilary.
Yes, we are. We're ready? We ready to delve into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, our first block is called Dream City.
Maybe.
Maybe. We have some dreamy Mario RPG music for you. Mine is Dreamy Castle Rendezvous. It's a Yoko Shimomura track, and it's from Mario and Luigi Dream Team.
Excellent. And Mario, what's your first track?
My first pick is Rogueport from Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy it.
All right. Let's go listen to Dreamy Castle Rendezvous and Rogueport.
So yes, a Dreamy Castle Rendezvous. That's really a charming name, but that's not why or at least not all of why I picked this song. When I was thinking about the Mario RPGs and looking at the different options, I realized just how attached I was to Dream Team's soundtrack as a whole. There's this really nice through line of kind of like dreamy sound effects, instrumentation, synth, electronic sounds, and it's just really cool. So I know I wanted it represented, and I think that comes across really well in Dreamy Castle Rendezvous. It's basically the dreamy version of like a standard regal castle theme. So I like that. And I also like how it has this very kind of snappy drum pattern that actually adds to the feel instead of detracting from it. You know, you think kind of very like slightly more sharp, snary kind of drum might detract, but it all blends together really well. And it does really kind of feel like there could be a DJ involved too. So this track makes me picture like DJ Shy Guy, just making everybody very relaxed with dreamy soundscapes.
I know I'm pulling from different parts of the Mario cinematic universe, but I just want DJ Mallow.
DJ Mallow, yeah, well, that would be appropriate, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a cloud person. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned the drums, because that was part of what I got out of it. Is like I like that it's has that like jaunty bounciness, which is pretty. I'm not saying it's required, but it's pretty iconic, and like it's something you really associate with like Mario games and Mario music. But it's that, but it still never takes away from that like dreamy feeling of it. That like sort of flute, that like synthesized flute, woodwind, whatever it is, like really sets the tone of that like dreamy soundscape.
And it's carried through, yeah. So
Yeah.
I also picked this as kind of like a representative of Dream Team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you play this one?
Barely.
Okay. Yeah, this is one of the ones I missed. There were so many of them, and like now they're like harder to find and get, but I would like to. It's really nice music.
In my research looking at the soundtrack, I learned that this is a pretty popular track from the
Okay.
album, and a lot of people are nostalgic about it.
I can see it.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. And yeah, the song's also the first of many appearances of Yoko Shimomura on this episode
Yep.
as a composer.
Yeah. Very notable for her work on the original Super
Right.
Mario RPG.
Right.
It's very good to see her. And I guess it's also kind of fitting that I brought it on because I was also on her composer spotlight, and also brought a Mario RPG song.
Yes, you did. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll put a link in the show notes to that episode too.
Please press A, I want to stop crying.
Oh, is that where that clip came from?
Because I picked Mallow's like little sad theme.
Oh,
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Oh,
I just wanted to say that I think that Mario games really always do really well at the songs kind of capturing the feel of whatever the theme of the game is. Like, this song really does capture that like dream feel, or like the music from Mario Galaxy. It just kind of feels like spacey. You know, Mario games in particular have always been really good at just kind of capturing that feel through their music, I think, of whatever the theme of the game is.
Yeah, and never really losing the identity as Mario music. Like, I'd say this song is still pretty recognizably like Mario, or at least Mario-ish, but it's also dreamy.
Yep.
Right, yep.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that about the Mario RPGs.
Okay. Well, are we ready to talk about a city then? A port city, maybe?
I think we are. I think that goes kind of really well into Rogueport, actually, because a lot of what I love about this song is how it captures that bustle, like high energy sort of city music, and like essentially a setting that's like not really what you typically think of when you first think of Mario, you know? But it still
Right.
has that Mario feel to it. Like, I'm very excited for people to play Thousand Year Door who haven't played it yet, because I think Rogueport's a really great sort of hub world and hub town, and seeing how it kind of evolves and all that with the characters throughout the story is really cool. So yeah, but this song itself is very great. I'm very nostalgic for it. I think they nailed that sort of sense of adventure and like you're hunting for a treasure and all that sort of vibe that you're going for with Thousand Year Door. Um, all in a setting that isn't really your typical Mario fare, which is also a theme I really like with the Mario RPGs, is that a lot of them aren't really. They get to stretch sort of what the Mario world usually looks like in like a lot of the standard base games. So I really appreciate that. I think Rogueport encapsulates that really well.
Yeah, it does. You get like the little slightly jiggy section where it's like at one point a lot of the instrumentation drops away, but then when it comes back there's just these few like bars of what sounds like a sea shanty or like an Irish jig or something.
Yeah.
And that was a super fun addition.
Yeah, definitely. And just that energy to it's just really great and makes it really stand out in my mind with like amongst Mario music.
Yeah, it's interesting because listening to it I was thinking, this actually has like some hub town or like major RPG town energy in a way that I think some of the, like at least the original Super Mario RPG, like none of the, it was very linear from town to town. You didn't really have a hub. But this one definitely sounded more like a hub to me, just with the kind of the way the melody is passed among the instruments, but also the way the song changes and evolves. So you have like different instruments taking up the melody. You have sections where the melody drops, but then it comes back and it's kind of stronger and it changes a little bit. And then there's a little bit of a jig to tell you that, yes, this is Rogueport. So it did make it feel like this place is important to me, at least.
Yeah.
Hiroki Kakuda or like Secret of Mana-esque near the end. I really like that.
I guess I'd have to listen again now that you said that. I think I could hear it though, yeah.
I could see it, yeah. Or I could hear it.
Yeah, I was almost getting like Secret of Mana vibes.
Okay. I mean, that's not a bad thing ever.
I could definitely see that, yeah. I instantly got nostalgia hearing this. It's been a while, but now I'm just really excited to play Thousand Year Door again. It's probably it's not probably, it is my favorite of all the Mario RPGs, so instant nostalgia, love the song, just have really, really fond memories of this game, so I'm glad somebody put a song from it on here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones I missed, which I'm sad about because I think back when it came out I didn't know, but now basically when we got to the point where anyone would say like, oh yeah, Thousand Year Door is like the best one in the series, like I hear that a lot. I've heard that a lot over the last many years, but by the time I started hearing that regularly, that game was way too expensive for my tastes secondhand. So I'm very happy that they're remastering it because I've been itching to play it for a while.
Yeah, and now it's upcoming again, so it's important that it's represented here too.
Yeah.
I wonder what the soundtrack's gonna be like.
Yeah, I mean, we've only heard a little bit from like trailers and stuff, but yeah, it's exciting. I also think this one is fun and jaunty in like that Mario way, but not the same as we always expect, which I think is part of the reason I paired it with Dream Team, because it has that, but also something else. With Dream Team, you have that bouncy, fun Mario thing, but with the dreamy soundscape. And this one, you have that, but also with like something else. It's not, I don't want to say, I wrote ominous in my notes. I don't think ominous is the right way, but like there's a slight edge to it, right? Like, I'm not sure if this city is full of crime or what. I'm just kind of guessing based on the name that maybe there's some, seedy portions of the city, which again, not what I really expect from Mario, but.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's like portrayed as like a pretty shady town, so
yeah,
that's a pretty good inference.
And so I love that. I like that it has that to it. It's still fun, but it has this other aspect to it. So just like the last one, it fits within Mario, but it also has its own identity. So that's cool. And also like the Dream Team one, like those two things are probably really hard to like represent together, right? It's like you have this like bustling city street, but then you also have parts of it that sound like they're more like, you know, whatever goes on in like some back alley somewhere, and it blends together, and it doesn't feel like, oh, there's like this song and then this song, but it all goes really well and somehow manages to express both aspects of that. And I think
And Mario.
Yeah, I think that's very cool.
Yeah, I think that's another strength of these Mario RPGs is that they can kind of blend, like portraying that there could be some serious stuff happening here, but at the same time staying lighthearted with that Mario charm and humor at all times.
Right. All right. Well, I think that actually ties us in nicely with our next track, which really could have also been paired with this one, but what are you going to do? So, Jimmy, what is your first song?
My first song is Beware of Forest Mushrooms, also a Yoko Shimomura track, and it's from Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars.
Awesome. And Mario, I didn't mean to front load this episode with you, but that's how it worked out. What's your second
It's
one
all
today?
good. My second track is from Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, and it's the battle theme from that game.
Cool. All right, let's go listen to Beware of Forest Mushrooms and Battle.
So I picked this track because I just recently finished the Mario RPG remake. And like I said, I played it with my daughter, and this was the track that stood out to us both. That kind of, we would, catch each other kind of humming it out loud. And it's definitely my favorite, most memorable song from that game. Also just gives me that instant nostalgia whenever I hear it. So I really wanted to, this was a no-brainer when I was coming up with my songs. I had this one right away. I knew I wanted to put this on here.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually one of the things I noted in mine, is that, even for me too, like, this is one of the most classic, maybe one would even say iconic, and memorable songs from Mario RPG. Like, I would have been surprised if this wasn't on here. So, no, it's an excellent choice. And like I said, it probably could have been paired with Rogueport, because like once I was listening through these again and taking notes, I'm like, take the city aspect out of it, but it's the same kind of thing where you have like this sort of foreboding area mixed with this upbeat, happy Mario music. So it's like, it's never too scary. And I like that. I mean, actually, Mario RPG does kind of get a little darker at the end, but at least as far as Mario goes. But at this point, the game isn't really that dark, so it's a little more whimsy than anything. But yeah, it's, that whole forest really kind of has this cool sort of Alice in Wonderland kind of vibe to it. And I don't think that would have come through quite as much without this music. I mean, it's so, like, for me, it's so ingrained in the experience of exploring that forest.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny you mentioned that, because it actually reminds me of the Alice in Wonderland theme a little bit from Kingdom Hearts, which also Yoko did that soundtrack as well. So
It's true, yeah.
There you go. I can see the connection.
Yeah, for sure.
And Alice in Wonderland is a great comparison. I kind of love how Yoko Shimomura represented. I feel like she sort of represented a little bit of that kind of like wonder with an oompa rhythm.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, that underlying doot 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 doot, like, it's through the entire song.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening, and that can be really overbearing, but you still have kind of like the mysterious tones, and you still get a little bit of that mysterious vibe with that. So, I don't know. I just adore it. I think it's just a great amalgamation of those two kind of musical styles.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm still impressed at that. Yeah, that repetition and that strong kind of oompa low brass isn't overpowering.
This song is just like, this is what a whimsical RPG forest sounds like to me. Like, in my head, this is just so, it captures that feel so strongly. That's one of those songs that I could just play in my head immediately, like at any given moment, and it's just takes you to that sort of place where you're playing that game. So yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
Had you heard it much? Like, since you didn't play the game originally, like, were you familiar with it before you played the remake?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, I knew this game before I even played the game.
Okay.
Before I even played the game, I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like one of those. I think it's one of those, like, it's pretty iconic. I think that's a pretty accurate description for it in terms of, like, yeah, I heard this, like, when I got to this part of the game, I was like, oh, that's like, well, I knew where the song was from, but it's just like, okay, now I can actually play it to its context.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say something else.
I kind of was. I don't know. I'm just like thinking through the analogy kind of the song puts together, and it almost sounds like that low brass is kind of like the footsteps where you're walking, but you kind of have that like, ooh, what's over here?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I want to keep going and look around, and I'm attentive.
This is when I wish this was a video podcast.
Because I'm making little like
everyone
footsteps
can see Hilary
with my
doing
hands.
footsteps with her hands. Yes.
Oh, God.
Well, I don't have a good segue of turning hand footsteps into battle music. So
Doot, 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 doot.
Yes, that's true.
I'm sure
but
there's some way.
maybe.
Yeah. I also don't know how though, but I'm sure. But
Oh, I have one.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so-
This song also kind of reminds me of, slightly difficult to navigate forest areas with lots of a high encounter rate.
Ah,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there you go. um, yeah, but okay. So I knew I had to. Well, I didn't have to, but I know I wanted to include a battle theme on here. And because that's something that comes to mind for me when I think of Mario RPG music. I think of like the battle songs being really good bops. um, so yeah, so I was thinking of which one I wanted to include, and ultimately ended with Partners in Time. But that game's battle theme, and yeah, I just think I don't know if it's just because I played it so much as a kid or what it is, but this song sort of just has that upbeat Mario, I guess Mario Charm or Mario vibe to it that I really like, and yeah, I think it really captures that sort of upbeat nature of Mario battle music really well. But yeah, but the Mario RPGs have so many good battle songs that there are like a lot of choices it could have been, but yeah, but I really enjoy this version, and yeah, it's a great song. I like how it changes throughout, and yeah, I think any battle music that I don't mind hearing a million times over and over again is really an accomplishment. So, so yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, that is very true. One of the things I thought was really cool about it was that it definitely has that classic like kind of Mario style melody and like instrumentation and things like that. But in contrast to like a lot of other Mario music, which is pretty like mostly in kind of major keys, like kind of, I mean, major keys are often described as like happy, upbeat. This one is actually a lot like the musical intervals in it. It's a lot of minor tones. And it's really cool to see how they made this very fast moving battle song and have those minor tones and still kind of have it like have that momentum and have that energy. And even I think a little bit of an upbeat feeling. Just like and how those specific musical intervals and tones like add a certain individuality to it. I was joking around and I think I referred to this as like the Mario RPG battle music's concerned or anxious cousin.
I think you said more anxious cousin
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. I mean, it does actually echo some of the feelings of Super Mario RPG, but in this different way for sure. It has a more, I mean, for me, I got more of a seriousness to it.
That's probably the minor intervals you're hearing.
Yeah, like it. You said this is the regular battle music?
This is just regular enemy. Yeah, it does still have that like tenseness to it though. Or I don't know if tenseness is the right word, but I hear what you mean though.
Yeah, like I wanted to clarify because like it sort of sounds like it could have been used for some kind of boss battle, like not like
Just
a final
regular
boss or
music.
anything. Yeah,
Or like a mid boss or something
Maybe a
more
mid-boss.
threatening.
yeah. But yeah, no. Boy, I try to avoid doing that. Yeah, no thing, but there it is. Shimomura really put like some of her like classic flair into this one. With like some cool marimba like sounds in there.
I love how Mario battles often have marimbas.
Yeah,
It's so much fun.
it is fun, and it's like it's sort of. I like how we all had like different words for this. Like you said high energy and something else that I blanked on. I wrote down like a sort of frantic pace. And there's a lot happening, but it's a lot of fun, and it has that energy, and it is fun, but also a little bit serious. So it's another case of like a neat blend of different feelings that feels. Oh, I don't know where I was going with that sentence. But yeah, like it's accomplishing different things all at once. It still has that Mario sound, but it's still like, hey, this is a battle. Like this is still kind of a serious situation.
Yeah, I actually wrote down. It feels like if you played a battle theme at like when you're listening to a podcast and you put it on 1.25 times to get through it quicker.
Mhm.
That's kind of what it reminded me of.
Okay.
But yeah, I totally agree that battle themes are a definite strong suit throughout all of these games. I think most of them do battle themes really, really well, and this was a good example.
And not the last example we have today either.
Ooh, I think this is also just kind of a good general point to bring up. A lot of these tracks are like on a relatively short loop or like have very quickly repeating sections.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just incredible how the slight changes and everything woven in make you comfortable listening to them for like longer periods of time. Like I think the Mario RPGs are like much like the original Mario music, right? Designed for loops, but
Right.
all of these kind of, I think, harken back to that a little bit. They're on short loops, but you add a slight variation or make a slight change.
Right, just to keep them fresh but
Definitely.
familiar. Yeah. Okay. Well, this brings us to our intermission here. We don't really have an intermission. It's just the middle of the episode. Maybe we should do an intermission. That'd be a fun thing. Throw an extra song or something in the middle. A commercial.
Shy Guy Swan Lake.
You really want Shy Guy Swan Lake on here, don't you?
I'm just really, really amused that there are multiple games that sample, take Swan Lake.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
The context for that is that there's a Shy Guy. It's a ballet in Origami King.
Yep.
Yes, that is Swan Lake.
And they have like the original kind of classic version of it, I guess, which is like the official, I don't know, the official ballet. And then there is a, like, they say it's a punk version. I would call it more ska.
Ska Swan Lake
Ska
with
Swan
Shy
Lake with
Guys.
Shy Guys.
Boy,
Oh,
if I
that-
didn't need to play Origami King before,
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
yeah. We'll give you guys a link.
I think that was like in random. I think I mentioned it in random.
Oh, okay.
And I found it
Yeah,
on
you did.
Tchaikovsky's birthday, which is the best part of all
My
of that.
God.
Nice. But hey, speaking of Origami King,
Oh, yes.
that's actually your next track today.
Yep. My next track is not Ballet Shy Guys. It's Birdo. Yes, my track is Enter Birdo from Paper Mario: The Origami King.
All right. And now we get to my first track, which, well, I'm also doing Mario RPG, but I'm bringing a song from the remake, one of my favorites. So my first track today is This Is Booster Tower. So let's go listen to Enter Birdo and This Is Booster Tower.
Right. Birdo, the most famous of all Mario characters.
Okay. Are you going to explain that?
Yeah, okay. I am, but it's going to be part of my actual like musical explanation.
Okay.
Yeah, so hold on tight. So this is like definitely a more goofy choice. It is a short, barely even melody kind of character theme for a character that's not there for very long at any given time in the game, but is not exactly comic relief, but entertainment. But I felt like there are so many like goofy and strange and entertaining characters in the Mario world that I had to at least bring some, like, I wanted at least something like that represented in the episode. So that's definitely Birdo. I also like the fact that this music is just like so forceful in its presentation, like it commands a bunch of attention. It reminded me of this anecdote when I was working in the schools and I had a student who super loved Mario. We were working on handwriting. We were doing that by like guessing Mario characters and writing the letters in their names to practice capital letters. There was one he couldn't get. I said, okay, it's a Mario character that probably everybody knows, a really important one. Smirks and gives a long pause and goes, Birdo?
Because the one character that wasn't written down yet was Mario, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that what it was?
It was Mario.
And you were like
Birdo.
trying to lead into Mario.
Yes.
So come on, the iconic.
It was so cute. And I think we talked about Mario characters a little bit before, so like he at least knew that I knew and was entertained by Birdo, so that might have been why he did it. But yeah, it was pretty great. And I feel like that song just kind of like exemplifies that. Birdo is here, Birdo is important while this song is going.
Yes.
I'm just so entertained by it. I love the super wailing brass. I love how the percussion is basically a tango. And I really like it. And I think I wrote that it's almost as much like fun noise as it is a melody. And it has cute little guitar accents that kind of add to the slightly like tango feel. So, I don't know, just fun.
Yeah.
That is why I picked this song.
Tango's better. I kept wanting to say jazz, but it's jazzy tango, whatever. But no, that's better. I'm glad you landed on this one, because when you were going through Origami King stuff, you're like okay, that's fun, and as soon as this came up, I'm like, oh, you gotta do that one. Like, there's a lot of good music in that game, but I kept hearing this one in my head.
We have to represent all the I guess you could call them like side characters, except they're all so much fun.
Yeah. Well, this is the most important one, though.
Yes.
But no, I mean, I love Birdo. Like, Birdo's great. Like, who would have thought? Back in Mario Brothers 2, it was just like, wow, what is that thing? Why is it spitting eggs from its mouth? Really weird, but
the eternal question.
Right. But no, like, it's such a fun time, this song. I don't know that I can say much more beyond what you did, because I like it for all the exact same reasons. So yeah, good choice.
I feel like Birdo's definitely a character who makes an entrance, you know?
Yep.
So I think this song really exemplifies that, really grabs your attention.
I think in Origami King, like, she's in a play, like, she's doing all sorts of stuff. She's at the cafe, like, I guess is like an entertainer.
Oh, okay. I could see it.
She'll like...
Yeah, I haven't played Origami King. That's one of the few that I haven't played yet.
I know, like, I've heard it's great too. Like, I need to get on that.
I want to play it too.
I find that to be some of the most amusing things that Mario will do, is when they'll take these minor characters and give them just random roles in games that they wouldn't normally have.
Right?
I just find it hilarious.
I didn't expect that, like, Birdo's random entrance would be the thing that reminded me that we need to play this game, but I think this might have accomplished it.
Good. Yeah, Birdo becomes the character in the story that is just very forceful personality, shows up, steals the show while she's there.
Yeah. I'm going to mention this at the end because I didn't want to sully any of our conversation, but I will say I made the mistake of looking at some of the comments on this on YouTube because the song is called Enter Birdo.
Oh no!
So you can imagine what the comments are. Actually, a lot of people are respectful. Most people are just like, well, that's an interesting name. Is that a command? Like, I didn't see anything terribly bad, but it was just like, I didn't think of it. I did not think of the song title that way.
The thing is, it's a stage direction, people.
I know. And actually, for that matter, because this game, like most of our songs today, don't actually have soundtracks, do we even know if that's really the name of the song? Unless there's like a sound testing game.
Some localizer was like...
Oh my god.
Or someone like,
Yeah.
localizing the track names at some point.
I'm going to talk to my localizing friends who might know who did this one and see
Who's responsible?
who's responsible for this song title.
Oh, that is a good
Oh,
occasion
God.
to not look at the comments.
Yeah, well, I want to see what people. Most of it was just people like being like, "Oh man, Birdo's the best. This is fantastic. What an entrance!" And then that. But anyway, like I said, I saved it for the end, so you could all know what I experienced.
Thanks for sharing the pain.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
YouTube comments can be a curse or a blessing. It really varies.
Yeah, I mean this one's a little of both. So you're welcome, and I'm sorry. All right, so Booster Tower. I really was gonna try to do something that wasn't Mario RPG again, although I like the remake soundtrack. I was very close. I was looking at stuff from Mario and Rabbids, which are great soundtracks, but I couldn't find something that really stood out to me as much as this one. So here we are. I don't like to do repeats on a single episode. I mean, I'm glad that I can sort of bend the rules with the remake, but I figured, one, I thought it'd be fun to have something from the original and remake of this game. Second, this was the Mario RPG that started the trend of Mario RPGs, so I think it kind of warrants being here twice. Three, it's my show and I do what I want, so I have a lot of reasons for this. And fourth,
Wow.
and for me, most critically, holy shit, did you hear that cello?
Aw.
You hear the cello in this song. Booster's Tower and his character theme have always been two of my favorite tracks in the game, in the original game too. And I just love how it was arranged in the remake.
Yeah.
We in recent years, we even recently did an episode about RPG remakes because we get so many remakes and remasters now, which I'm all for. And I think it's been really great that we've gotten so many great remake and remaster soundtracks lately. And sometimes you'll get something like Final Fantasy VII Remake where they just like really went all out because the game expanded the world so much and added more. Like the soundtrack got bigger and different, and even
so much more music.
and it's great, and it has familiar themes and new themes and blending of things. But
also shout out to the Link's Awakening remake that chose a specific set of instruments that fit with the theme of the game.
yeah,
And remade it that way.
like that's a good one. And then you have things like Mario RPG and the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters that, they have this very specific thing they set out to do where it's the same music that like they preserved it as much as possible, but with like clear, crisp new instrumentation and sometimes things like a super cool, cello in the background. But we've talked about this before on some other ones, like not only like games, but especially music, that it's really cool when they can. I heard people describe it, and I've described them this way, and I'm describing this song in that way, where it's one of those things where you can describe it as like, well, this is what I remember this song sounding like, even if it isn't really what it's sounding like. And I love that. Sometimes you can get an arrangement like, not to call out anyone on Final Fantasy X, but I don't super love the remaster soundtrack for Final Fantasy X. because it's almost the same, and then sometimes they're just like weird additions that like kind of took me out of it, and I'm like, well, that's not, I don't know, like some of them it didn't belong there. But soundtracks like this I just adore. I love when it's like, yes, this is the same song I remembered, it's just better now. It's like a higher quality recording, or there's just something added to it, but it doesn't take away from the feeling or all the nostalgia. Anyway, I really like it.
Yeah, I like what you said about this is what I was kind of imagining when I listened to it originally, because,
Exactly.
you know, a lot of games from this era did not have the capacity to fully musically express some of those things. So that is kind of a neat little effect of that when things are updated, redone. And it's so funny because this track always initially reminded me, it had a very super like 90s feel to me, and kind of felt like waiting, like not exactly elevator music, but it had this kind of like waiting 90s music vibe that I actually was entertained by and kind of loved in the context of going through the tower, trying to catch up to Booster.
Yeah.
Tons of obstacles. It just clicked for me. But listening to this version, like, I can appreciate it. It still kind of has that feel and that nostalgia a little bit, but you can hear all the different parts a little bit better. You can delve into the instrumentation. The strings are great, like you said.
I feel like this song is such a funny juxtaposition between like the song being that's really like, it feels like a kind of like you're saying, like a waiting room, or not elevator music, but like
Yeah.
like an elegant sort of like fancy hotel or something, you know? I don't know, but like
Like a lobby.
maybe like a really nice like hotel lobby. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's like
They
and
want something in the
having that with,
background, but it's classy enough. But you are waiting.
Yeah. And it's like that with like Booster, which is like just not that.
Right. Yeah, he's
So,
the
it's just
complete
a very
opposite of
funny-
that.
Yes, it's what he's.
Yeah.
It's his affectation. He's like, yes, I'm classy, fancy lobby, and you're like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a really good, like that's what really stood out to me during this part of the game. Like, yeah, just that juxtaposition was really good.
Well, especially when you consider like his character theme is more fitting of his character.
Yeah,
And
that contrast is
that
fantastic.
that contrast is like the very next track. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite part of the actual game. And just having played the remake recently, really good job I think they did. And you're right, you can sometimes they can add things when they do a remake or a remaster, and it's like, why did you even mess with it? Like, don't fix it if it's not broken. But I think the Mario RPG remake did a really pretty solid job of updating the soundtrack without taking away from anything.
Right. And that's got to be so hard to do too. I mean, even if it's like you have the original composers, arranger, anything, like, I'm sure the temptation is there to be like, well, I wanted to do this other thing maybe back then, and I'd like to do it now, but you know, maybe have to hold back a little bit because you don't want to change it too much for people. So
Right, how much do you kind of stick with that original vision versus what it ended up being? But
you know, you don't know. Like sometimes the vision was like, yeah, no, that's what I wanted, and maybe that's why you get things like this that carry through and still have that, just updated in a really nice way. All right, well, that brings us to our last block. I think I'm going to call this the Bowser's Castle block, just because it feels like the right thing for the fourth level or fourth stage.
Yeah,
I
like it.
So, oh wait, I'm first. So my second song here is coming up next, and I have Game Point from the Game Boy Color version of Mario Tennis, because for some reason only the Game Boy Color one has an RPG mode, so I'm saying that counts. And then Jimmy, what is your second track?
My final track is the grand finale from Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
What a fitting thing to end on. Let's go listen to Game Point and the grand finale. Okay, let's talk about this one. This is a tennis game. This is a Mario tennis game, no less, for the Game Boy Color. I mean, there was also an N64 version. But, yep, it's just a silly little Mario sports game. And yet, somehow, it may be more dramatic than any song we have today. As if someone came in to the office and said, hey, Sakuraba-san, this is going to play during a tennis match with Mario and friends, so you don't have to. And then Sakuraba just comes up, sweeps his arm across the table, just knocking everything to the floor and says, hold my beer. And the result is what, I mean, I listen to this and I just hear what could just be a final boss theme.
It's
from any Game Boy RPG.
Why does the song go so hard?
It's so good. There's no, I mean, there's a lot of songs. There's a lot of songs in the game that do have like just that fun. Like there's some cool rearrangements of classic Mario themes and all that, but not this one. This is not, hey, let's have a fun game. This is serious business. This is the fate of the world depends on this serve, so don't mess it up. It's so good. I was not familiar with this. I didn't play Mario Tennis on Game Boy back in the day. I know of the RPG mode. So I'm like, this will be a fun thing to bring on. So let's see what the music is like. And I was not expecting this. It's so, it is criminal that this does not have a soundtrack, a release soundtrack. The N64 version did. And I listened to that one too, and it's basically the same song, just with different instrumentation, of course, because you're gonna be able to do more on a console. But and that one maybe is even a little more epic, just because there's more. He had more to work with there. But I don't know. There's something about this one, like those crunchy like Game Boy sounds. I think is just a lot of fun, and it holds up really well. Like I'll put a link in the show notes too. Not that it's hard to find, but like listen to this one and then go compare to the N64 one. And I feel like they both accomplished that same, like, this is a serious like RPG battle here, even though they sound instrumentation wise completely different. So much fun.
This is also like slightly frustrating for me, because it just proves to me that Sakuraba just needs someone to rein him in.
Really?
It's like comparing this with some of his, boss battles and compositions for like future generation consoles. He just goes for very bombastic, very complex, so many layers, so many competing parts. It's very like high energy, it's very high stakes, but this is so effective. I think it's kind of more effective than some of those more convoluted boss themes.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong, still love his music.
Right.
Yeah, the fact that this game even had like an RPG mode is just so funny.
Yeah.
This is one of those games that like I fiended as a kid too. So this song was very nostalgic hearing this again. I was like, whoa, it just brought back a lot of memories, but yeah, it's a good pick. Solid. It's a very, it brought me back to sort of what we were saying earlier about like video game sounds that bring you anxiety or whatever. Like this is one of those like game point, like if you lose this, tennis, you just go to deuce or whatever, but it's still one of those moments where it's a particularly intense. So yeah, this song going so hard is pretty funny.
Everything is resting on this.
Yeah, everything rests on this serve.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just the amount of time I played with like the original Pokemon games, or just the amount of time as a whole I spent on Game Boy, the original and the Game Boy Color. But I just love the Game Boy sound. Just that you hear a song from a Game Boy game and that's Game Boy. And
yep.
It just gives you that instant nostalgia.
Okay, I might have to actually finally check it out after this.
You should try the RPG mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's on Switch Online. But yeah, no, the RPG mode's fun. It's kind of surprising how extensive it is.
Awesome.
For like a tennis game.
Right.
Yeah.
A game I wish was on the Switch Online and I know isn't? is Mario RPG. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that too. But no, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story.
Yes, unfortunately, it is not, because this is another one that's really high up on my list of my favorite in the series. I think this was actually the first DS or 3DS. I kind of missed the DS altogether and kind of went straight to the first version of the 3DS that was still backwards compatible. So I think this was the first game that I played for either of those systems. Back when GameFly was still a thing and you could rent the stuff that came to your house. But yeah, just a lot of fond memories of this game too. And this song in particular, I just love it. I love how epic it is. I really would put it up there against, like, I'm not just, being silly, but I would put it up there against some other final encounter musics of some of the other RPGs that I've played over the years. I really do enjoy it that much, and I think it just does a great job of kind of encapsulating the final encounter of that game.
Yeah, I can see how it would be a high tier, final encounter song for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when I was going through the notes, I was like, oh wow, this Mario Tennis is like the most dramatic one we have today, and then, well, we have this, so it has some competition. But I've heard this one before, and we had it as like a background only track back in 2015, and I don't know why it never came back up as an official song on the show. So I'm glad you brought it on. But boy, this song is just not messing around. For me, when it comes to Yoko Shimomura, like, there's really nothing she can't do musically. Like, I have a very, very high opinion of her. But with some of her battle music, like when she really goes for it with battle music, it's just fantastic. So I'm totally with you, Jimmy. Like, this one really gives me like the same kind of energy and excitement level as some of her battle music in Kingdom Hearts and actually even some of Final Fantasy 15. Like 15's battle music is something else. That whole game has a great soundtrack, but like her regular battle tracks for 15 sound like boss battles. And like I can put this one up on there with some of those and some of Kingdom Hearts battle music. Like, it really is that good.
Yeah, and it is a very successful battle theme with piano, which I'm always up for that.
Yep.
I think it's great to show how you can do something that intense and driving with different instruments. So yay piano.
Did you have anything, Mario?
This track goes hard. It's just one of those tracks that just stuck with me. As like, this is what a final boss sounds like to me. So, yeah, no, it's great. It's, I think it's one of the more, sort of, I don't know if iconic's the right word for it, but yeah, I would say it's pretty well, like, pretty popular, and yeah, it's for a very good reason. It's a very strong final theme. Yeah, just that piano goes so hard.
Yeah,
I'm curious, like, do we think these past couple tracks still have that kind of like expected Mario-ness to them? Because I know we were talking about this kind of theme of, recognizable Mario music plus whatever the theme is. I think listening to these, like, I think desperate situations and like boss battle music might be a little bit of an exception.
I think you're right. I didn't really think about that as much with these two, so that might be the exception in this episode.
Yeah, honestly, thinking about it, yeah, I feel like, I guess it's so hard to remove it from its context, I guess, but if I like heard this song without knowing like it was a Mario RPG song or whatever, I don't know, yeah, I guess it's hard for me because I feel like since I like, having played the game and all that, it just feels so ingrained to that game for me, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of remove it from that context, but
that's
I hear you though.
That's kind of an interesting question. when does a song become Mario because it's in a Mario game versus when does it sound Mario
What
anyway?
does it mean to be Mario?
Yes, what does it mean to be Mario? Please explain.
Only one of us can answer
Yes.
Oh god.
Oh no, too existential.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got an answer. That seems pretty existential to me.
that. Well, I mean, this is just the thing Hilary does. She'll just an hour into a discussion to be like throw a question at a group of people and be like, "Hey, here's something you never thought about until this moment. See if you can answer this question that doesn't have an easy answer."
I'm not expecting an easy answer.
What does it mean to be Mario?
Musically and otherwise, I don't know.
All right. Well, that went somewhere unexpected at the end, but
All right,
I am
whoever
all
had
for
an
it.
existential question on their Hillarys on this episode of Rhythm Bingo Card, you win.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't know about you all, but I had a lot of fun with this one. So, on this episode today, we had a lot of debuts for Rhythm Encounter. Actually, 5 of our 8 tracks today were first-time appearances. So we had Bowser's Inside Story, since, again, it was only on in the background before. This was also the first appearance on the show for Partners in Time, Mario Tennis, The Origami King, and, somehow, Thousand Year Door. So, thank you, everyone, for that. It's always fun that no matter how many songs we have on the show, that still have that many, first-time appearances. So there's just so much good music out there,
I'm surprised Dream Team has been on.
Dream Team was on. I forgot which episode, but yeah,
Neat.
that one was on once. So yeah, thanks everyone for your great picks today. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter is an episode I'm also looking forward to. This one has not been sitting around for 8 years. This is actually a very recent idea from Gio. We're doing 2 songs with the same name. So eventually you listen to RPG music and you'll notice some like similar track names across different games. So we have some basic rules, like we're not going to have anything just called like Battle 1 because that's too easy. So beyond that, the idea is every panelist has to pick 2 songs with the same name from completely different games, and we're just going to like compare and contrast how that sounds. So I'm really excited about that. In fact, I'm so excited about it, I've already decided that that's just part 1 and we'll do it again later.
Oh, good, because I went in.
Yeah, I think it's such a good idea, and there's so much of it out there that I think we can revisit that a lot. After that, we are doing an episode on pirate music.
Arr!
Yes, the entire episode, everyone is going to have to talk like a pirate for the entire episode. They don't know that yet.
Arr.
Avast, and so on. Yes.
Avast your scalawags.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you people do that because I don't want to do it.
Is it going to release on Talk Like a Pirate Day?
Ooh.
I'm kidding. That's in the fall.
I'll have to look. Oh, it is in the fall.
Sorry.
Okay, no. Yeah, so 2 songs with the same name and pirates. Our next topics. If you have feedback on this episode, if you have topic ideas, song ideas, anything you would like to share with us, you can reach the show at music@rpgfan.com. And if people want to reach you, Hilary, what's the best way?
RPG Fan email is the best, and I'm Hilary@rpgfan.com.
Okay. And Jimmy?
Probably the RPG Fan Discord is the best way to find me. I'm on there as Turner-based Jim.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yes. How about you, Mario?
Best place to find me is the RPG Fan socials. So that's Twitter, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, RPG Fancom.
Blue Sky? No, not yet. If you enjoyed Rhythm Encounter, be sure to check out RPG Fan's other podcasts, Random Encounter and Retro Encounter. Most recently on Random Encounter, I shouldn't say I wasn't there. Jono interviewed the creators of Little Guardsman, a very cute graphic adventure with a really, really fun like animated art style. So they got into like just the experience of building that game and making it, and I haven't actually listened to it yet because it's still being edited, but I'm guessing maybe the experience of having your publisher close or be sold or whatever, like weeks before releasing. So I'm sure they have quite a bit of stories to talk about with that game. But I'm glad it released and people seem to like it. So yeah. Over on Retro Encounter, coming up next, actually this week, if I did my timing right, the next game journal on Retro Encounter is Omori.
Happy Mental Health Awareness Month, everyone.
Well, that's the idea, right? You're
Yeah.
actually going to be on that episode. You've been playing Omori recently for the first time.
Yep.
You have any insight yet?
I don't think I played enough to have a ton of insight. I've got a little time left.
Okay.
I also I'm stewing,
Okay.
marinating.
You're still marinating in Omori. All right. That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. All right. But anyway, yes, that's coming up. So look forward to a couple episodes on Omori coming up next on Retro Encounter. So as Mario mentioned, you can find RPG Fan on lots of places online. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as RPG Fan.com. You can also find us on Discord. We have links to all of these in our show notes. Our website, of course, is rpgfan.com. Haven't been there yet. If you're listening for the first time or I just haven't convinced you yet, I am going to encourage you to look at our shop, which is at rpgfan.com/shop. We have some RPG Fan merch, and my favorite thing at the moment is still our review card collection book that we worked on with Hyperplay RPG. That's a collection of about 300 of our Instagram review cards and just a really, really nice printed coffee table style book. I know we have one. Lots of people on staff have one. So far, I have heard nothing but good things about it. So obviously, people are liking it. So you can get your very own at rpgfan.com/shop. If you enjoyed this show, we would love it if you could review us on Apple Podcasts or subscribe wherever it is you listen. All that does is just help us get the word out and get more people into the show. There's only so many video game music podcasts, and of those, only so many of them are RPG music podcasts. In fact, one of the ones that I like listening to is on break for maybe another year, which is Rhythm and Pixels. So they are good, but yeah, there's so much out there, and I like celebrating it. So I just want more and more people to be able to hear all this. I'm always learning new stuff and new songs, being part of the show. And I know, as a listener, that's one of my favorite things. So yes, that's my long-winded way of saying, if you review and subscribe and share links with people, it just means more people get to listen as well. So we would love it if you could do that. And finally today, we have a bonus track, and sometimes the person with the bonus track will share it with us in advance. This time, none of us have any idea what this is, except for you, Mario. So what is our bonus track today?
Yeah, so our bonus track for today. So I know Super Mario RPG did this first technically, but I love when credit themes are involved. I love the parade thing they do. And Paper Mario 64's credit theme is gonna kick off the episode, or I guess bring the episode to a close. But yeah, no, I love when RPGs end with all the characters and a celebration or something really sort of joyful and cute. So yeah, this credits theme from Paper Mario 64 is gonna send us out. And yeah, thanks everyone.
Perfect. Wow, I couldn't have pictured a better song for a closing bonus track.
Yeah, it's fitting.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Well, thank you everyone for being here. This was a lot of fun. Thank you everyone for listening, and we're going to close out with the end credits from Paper Mario, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Yoshi should really learn to savor his food. I'm just saying.